long story short, this is not an average. This is not an average that anyone should be using. This number is the 125,000 figure is a figure that's been put out there essentially as advertising. And if it was advertising, it would break advertising standards. Right? It's not a real number, right? So this is a number that includes PDRP. PDRP is an extra qualification that you have to earn on top. Right? So it's not the average nurse again. It's a nurse with another qualification on top. It includes a range of other allowances. If you scroll to the very bottom of this document, Pat, if you keep going down to the very, very bottom, right, if you go up a little bit, you can see all the additional payments that are in there.
30% of nurses have the PDRP.
A P. So it's not the average.
Yeah, so it's 30%, and that only gets you 3,000 to 4,500. That's not that 19,000 you're talking about.
Yeah. Then there's a nurse practitioners are eligible for a professional development allowance.
And we always got to be careful, especially with this government, of those 4 little letters there, up to $6,000.
Up to, exactly. And then if you go above the leave part, right, a further breakdown of allowances that are available, which again may or may not occur in individual circumstances.
Yeah.
So average is doing a lot of work here, which it shouldn't be doing. You should be concentrating on the base pay. But let's be honest, right? Pay levels are what they are, right? We pay people because hopefully that's the rate for that particular piece of work. Cabinet colleagues, so cabinet ministers, who happened to sign off on removing pay equity reforms this year, received a 2.5% pay rise this year, where a minister moved from $313,100 to $320,600 a year before benefits.
Nice, good for some. I mean, they work so hard, Craig.
They do work hard, but I would suggest that if we're all demonstrating restraint, yesterday it was announced that directors on boards would receive an 80% pay rise. Again, restraint.
Yeah.
And the key thing is that if you go back to that chart again, Pat, if you go back to that document again, Pat, I want to point you to something that's really important, which is actually something they're hiding here. So if you scroll down, there's a lovely graph, and I'm a big fan of a graph, as you're well aware. There you go, nursing salary growth from 2011 to 2024. And I want you to look, so they've helpfully drawn some lines. Now, the dark blue parts of the nurses' pay growth, that's actual pay growth. The light blue parts are pay equity, which is actually paying for underpayment of nurses, but since forever. And if you look along, you can see CPI, same period, LCI, same period, and HLPI, same period. Most of your listeners will know what the CPI is. That's just inflation. LCI is the labor cost index. That's wage inflation across the period. And HLPI is the household living price index, which is a really helpful number because that helps you tell you what the average costs that households face across that period. What you see is that most nurses have had pay rises, the actual pay rises, not the pay equity changes, essentially below the HLPI, below household costs changing across the period. And in fact, some nurses have seen pay grow at exactly the same rate as CPI, as inflation. What that means is since the 1st of January 2011, nurses have seen no real terms pay increase.
Wow.
Right. So when someone's telling you that, these nurses are just being greedy, they're being paid a lot, they're being paid too much, right? The Te Whatu Ora's own advice to the minister is that a senior nurse on step 4 has been paid exactly the same as inflation for 13 years.